Okay, we'll just finish up the technical. Hey, Jay and Brent. So what Panda's doing is we're now hardwired through our PA right to the camera. So it'll be a little different sound throughput to them. And we're hoping that'll get a little more audio quality for all of us. And we thank Danielle and Panda for working with us. They came in during the week, 2 weeks ago, with a tech guy and saw if it would work. And now there's probably some tuning, but we'll get it right. The one thing is if you feel a sudden urge to sneeze or cough, there are buttons here which kill, so don't, because I'm going to blow the ears of this poor guy, first of all, and then the listening audience too. But that being said, tonight we'll get going on our meeting. Then tonight we have scheduled in advance a public hearing on the block grant process, something we have to do in October. Maybe Jay and Brent, they were talking about down there. We're in the good fortune of having the state of New York found us $88,000 to do what we were originally going to submit to the Block Grant Authority. Was we were going to resubmit a proposal from last year for the crosswalks to make them illuminated with the buttons that are pushed by the pedestrians, and then we're going to do some more handicap access grade level attempts to make the curbs more accessible for handicapped folks. Like I said, the good part is the state came through with some leftover money from a prior year and gave us that. So we don't need to then go to the block grant folks for that. So we're, as you all recall, looking for other projects. We put the thought process out there, everybody, and we're coming up with some smaller things. The block grant can be $100,000, but so right now, as of this morning, we're looking at something on Prince Street and Church Street corners and so forth. I don't know if Jay, if you were doing some research over there, you want to talk a little bit. And I wanted to put out, it's a public hearing, but we want to first congeal our thoughts. Some of these thoughts are brand new to us, and then we'll open the regular meeting with our normal process and do our regular session. But we were kicking around kind of a brainstorming session right now for the board too. So if you want to jump in there, Jay.
I'll be relatively brief. At the church, I think it's the Methodist Church, Church Street, in Prince, we were looking at the replacement of the sidewalk that's heaved and not in great condition. So, but we turned out to find that it was not actually within the village right-of-way, so it would have to be a taking that would allow us to do that, and takings are not well tolerated by the block grant crew. So we're going to sort of switch our focus a little bit and just have a very small portion of sidewalk that would then go east-west from the sidewalk and connect to Church Street and come basically toward the village hall and have a detectable warning strip there. And we were looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 single intersections that do not have either detectable warning strips or compliant curb ramps. And we were going to look at maybe attacking those individuals and trying to get the money to upgrade those to be more compliant with the ADA regs. So Brent's going to work on the text for it, and I'll prepare the budget and work toward some graphics on that if that's what we decide that we want to, what direction we want to go. But I think it'll get us there. Just the one little piece of sidewalk would almost be embarrassing to put like a $2,500, $3,000, grant out there. This would total up to maybe $15,000, maybe $25,000 for ADA upgrades. So I think we might be in the ballpark with that.
And there's another proposal too, to do a joint application with the town of Red Hook for the Challenger Field project at the Red Hook Recreation Park expansion. Together with the town, they would raise about $200,000, which would go toward the field, which would be an accessible field. So that would be a joint project to consider too. So we can, both the town and the village of Red Hook are exceeded the low mod threshold, so it's $100,000 for ADA handicap compliant stuff, or sidewalk reconstruction or ADA compliant sidewalk stuff. So that's what we're doing. I think with Jay's proposal, with the grant that we got from the FAST project, we will be taking care of the Four Corners handicap ramps. That's part of the proposal with the blinking signal devices on the 4 mid-block crosswalks that we currently have. That's a great project. I'm glad we got funded, but, you know, when we get offered $100,000, I'd kind of like to see us go for as much of it as possible.
It's hard not to reach out, you know.
I agree. And what, though, are you proposing, Brent, if our work within the village is, say, $30,000-ish, as you work up some more components of the grades there, are you saying take the other 70,000 and share with the town, or one or the other? I'm not sure what.
I don't think we can do two projects, but, because we would be co-applicants with the town on the rec park, Challenger Field project.
Where is the Challenger Field?
This is in the annex, the new rec
Across the
Rec
street.
park?
Across the street.
Yeah.
So how, do you have a sense of how much money this project will take, and how close will $200,000 get if we're successful on both sides?
I think, according to what I heard from the supervisor, that if the village comes on board with this, the town would bond for the remainder of that, which also includes ADA-compliant bathrooms and infrastructure that goes into that. So this would be kind of a show of support, I guess, for their project. We would need to do an application. We would just use the town's application. We'd be co-applicants for that.
None of this field is on village property?
None of it.
It's all in the town, okay.
But the rec park, as you know, is shared by all three
Yeah, so
municipalities
I just wanted
and,
to just clarify.
and the schools as well. So that's another option. And, you know, with this one, I think it's a great project, and I would love to see, you know, our existing sidewalk systems all compliant, ADA. An option would be to go with the town and maybe reconsider this one for next year with additional money or additional scope of work that we can include in there. That's,
The only upside would be that we would have maybe a little more time to prepare it with more detail and more forethought, you know. I think those would be the only upsides of the whole. I'm sort of wishy-washy on this one, I'm not sure.
We're not going to vote right now. We'll take some public comment too. But like I said, the reason we're having this depth of detail right now is our big burden has been satisfied with receiving that FAST money. So now we're just looking for what to do with the block grant. If I understand it, one option is to spend $25,000, $30,000 on our sidewalk spurs and some ADA compliance.
Mostly just at intersections, you know, say St. John's, Old Post, Fisk,
Garden.
Firehouse Lane, Garden Street, things like that, where the ramps exist, but there are no detectable warning strips, or the ramps exist and they're steeper than they should be, and these sort of the resolutions of those sort of items.
I guess the follow-up to that, do we have enough time to do that in accord with the deadline and guidelines of the block grant timeline? You know,
it's tight.
Maybe,
It's
Pardon
tight.
me?
maybe.
Or B, that seems like the other option is to go with the town and throw, that's talking about the whole $100,000 and put it up. I don't think they're anywhere near ready. And then I've asked the same question Jay asked of town people. I think you're talking that it's $1 million type project. It's not a small project. Not to say it's good or bad, but it's, I don't know when it would be in fruition if we did that. You know? And then the third option is to do nothing and let other munis split the grant money, which I don't think is a great option.
No, I don't think that's an option.
Keep it home or close to
No.
home. And then,
You can't let free money just
Yeah, right.
pass you by.
So I think what we could do is, if the public was hearing that from the village perspective, if there's any, we're laying out some options, and we would welcome some public comment, and then we'll move on. Or if it's a board question too, but. Okay, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Is there such a motion?
Someone.
Second.
Okay, hearing is closed, and we'll think about it and vote later tonight. We do have a timeline we have to work on, so we'll work on that.
Yeah, the applications are due 12 noon on Friday.
2-1.
Yep, it's coming quick.
What are they doing?
We just got,
Like we
we
said-
just got notified from the state that we received the $88,000 within, what, last week and a half?
How come they only give us that little short time limit to
They gave us a long time, so
Well-
we were trying to get, we were anticipating that we would not get
The fast
the
money.
fast money, and so we would basically resubmit the application we did last year for the mid-block crosswalk signals, so that was already done. By the time we learned that we got the award, then now we're scrambling for.
We had to turn the boat around and try and determine other projects to do and see if they were feasible, and it was just, it's, you know, good bit of work to try and.
The county
prepare
gave
that.
us enough time to do this, but again, when we just found out that we got the award, you know, our time was limited to come up with a new proposal, and even though we were talking about,
It's gonna go anyways, and how much is gonna be spent, right?
well, we have to submit a budget for this as well, so.
Well, but, and Donnie too, the block grant is like scratching a lottery ticket. You might win, you might not. In other words, last year we submitted the same project that the fast grant just funded for us, and we didn't get it from the block grant award. We were turned down. So that's why we're thinking we redraw it. And, but anyway, it's all good. It's just we tasked the board with finding some new ideas. Where could we work some money, and this is the outcome. And we are, like Brent said, we are restricted. We can only work, the grant will only fund ADA-related projects. There's a lot of things we would love to spend money on, but these have to be ADA-related.
The village started making too much money now, so we're out of the low to moderate income group per the 2010 census numbers, so we're relegated to any projects that, as he said, are ADA, you know, oriented, restoration or renovation of existing facilities so that they're ADA compliant. And so we really have to pick and choose now what it is that we can go for.
And just to give you an idea, if we were below the low mod threshold, we could qualify for up to $150,000.
Yep.
And so with being over that line, we're restricted to what types of projects we can do, and then there's a certain cutoff as far as how much money you can qualify for. In this case, being $100,000.
And quite frankly, we're not sure we agree with the census data, so we are commissioning another income survey just to see, because it cuts us out of a few things that could be more helpful. So, but we'll talk about them more in a regular meeting on that. That being said, we closed the public hearing. What we'll do is formally open our regular meeting for October 17th. So if we could all rise and pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, good evening. I mentioned it's our October 17th meeting, 2017. And I thought we'd do a few business things and move into a special executive session in a moment. But first, I wanted to get the minutes reviewed and approved by the board. We circulated September monthly meeting minutes of September 12th and the workshop minutes of September 15th. I've had a chance to review them, and they were circulated out. I'm wondering if there's any additions, alterations, or corrections suggested. Hearing none, is there a motion to accept those minutes as circulated?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What I thought we'd do is, we'll move off our normal committee and department reports and our regular business format to work with some folks in the audience. On number 6 on our agenda, we have executive session for discussion on pending litigation. What I would like to do is entertain a motion to move into executive session with regard to pending litigation with an amendment that will also enable counsel for Sam Harkins, Kelly Flood Myers, and our counsel, David Wise, to attend the executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, with that, we'll remove ourselves from this room for a bit, and we'll come back if you want to end the camera, and we'll come back and you can turn it on. Okay. Okay. Cameraman, are you live?
You can take it.
Testing out our new sound system. We're back, and upstairs, we formally moved out of executive session, so we're back into our regular meeting. We had opened it up a while back, and now we're at the point where we talk about some money. Looks like Clerk Sharella. Which way?
To come out of executive session.
Yeah, we did it upstairs, but
Oh.
if you like. we'll give you a moment to write your clerk's world things, and then if you could put on your treasurer's hat, please.
I can do that. This is up till September 12th. Account balances, general fund, $732,598.60. Water fund,
Can I interrupt you? I don't think it means September 12th. It'd be,
oh, October 12th.
yeah, okay.
All right. Water fund, $113,793.28. Trust and agency, $27,503.38. Materials management, $7,062.39. Petty cash, $32.20. Village Green, $4,236.88. Hard Scrabble, $10,073.26. Health insurance, $13,252.01. General fund monthly expenses, $222,899.77. Water fund, $48,471.87. Trust and agency, $27,503.38. Materials management, $3,482.33. And the general fund expenses for the month are high because we paid off the parking lot to the bank. We did get the money in return from the grant. There were 3 payrolls, and we paid Best Paving, which I believe is gonna be CHIPS. We'll get the money back, but that's why the expenses are so high.
Good, thanks for pointing that out, because, yeah, in that 222, it caught my eye too, but we'll see in the body of it, 55,000-ish is what we paid Salisbury Bank back for that parking lot purchase with the grant from the state of New York, which was through DASNY and Kevin Gale's assistance to us. So really, the 222 goes down to a 172, and then some chips comes out. So it's more a standard month that way. And then what we've done over on the board, our impromptu display board over there, we did finish the AUD in late September with that extension, and the fund balance is doing some nice things. This is the composite of multiple years fund balance now, but remember we had the goal we set for ourselves as a board 5 years ago to hit $270,000 in fund balance, which would make us sync up with the controller's suggested guideline. We are now at 291. So this is an incredible success story. I sat with the inside staff a week ago Friday, or maybe 2 weeks ago now, and pointed out that there's a lot of hard work and a lot of budget watching and different things that make this happen. And it's good. It doesn't mean we can totally loosen the reins, but it means we're not always sweating around April, May, with cash flow issues and so forth. So we felt the benefit of it the past 2 years, just in-house. Anecdotally you can feel it. But this is a really interesting story for me, and I think we should all be proud of it, the board and the employees and the taxpayers. This is really huge for the village, and I'm glad we hit that. Other than that, the numbers are as stated. I think I would entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So
I
moved.
have one correction, that it's October.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Let's see. I think Jen said she's feeling under the weather. Do you think you can hang in there, or should we put you to work now?
I'm good.
Are you good? Okay. Let's see. I'll go to mine. I just have to find the printout I need. As far as the monthly police report, for the month of September, there were 381 incidents. It breaks out 265 in the village of Red Hook, 106 in the village of Tivoli. As far as the traffic,
106 in the town.
what did I say?
You said 106 in the village.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry. 106 in the town of Red Hook and 10 in the village of Tivoli. As far as tickets, 124 tickets were issued. That breaks out village of Red Hook, 86. And of those, 7 were parking tickets. And in the town of Red Hook, there were 38. Arrests, 15, breaks out 6 in the village of Red Hook and 9 in the town of Red Hook. I know Officer Kate left us. She took a full-time job with the State University of New York in the world of campus security, campus police up in the Syracuse University. which is a good career move for her, but it's, she was one of our important players, so we'll miss her. And as a result, the PD will have to be looking to replace that slot with another part-timer, so they're working on that.
I have a question.
Sure.
Excuse me. This past month, I only did one foot patrol,
I don't know, I didn't look at the
back
depth
on
there.
September the 3rd.
Yeah. If that's what it says, that's what it says.
When, I thought they were gonna start doing more
They have,
patrols on foot.
we have discussed foot patrols with them. What page are you on there, Stephen?
3.
3.
Page 3. Yeah, you're right. It only says one on September 3rd.
Right.
We can direct the sergeant's attention to that again, and see what's up. And then, let's see.
And also, just as a note,
Mhm.
were we gonna do something about the issue of the barred bus? This huge barred bus coming down, trying to make our side streets now?
We are, and maybe if you could hold that for
Okay.
later on, when we get to some other parts of the meeting. I'd appreciate that. Looks like Mr. Trustee Trapp, are you ready to roll?
Yes, sir. We can get back to the block grant a little bit later. I won't address that at this portion here, so. There was something that, that I would, well, you, Ed, you and I had spoken of, and that was the possibility of, with some of the money that maybe is left over from the parking lot purchases to potentially treat the areas that surround the parking lot, which are planted as rain gardens, and hope to absorb some of the stormwater runoff, sort of slightly reconfigure it. And if that's something we had chatted about, and you were gonna look at some mapping that maybe, or survey that was, I guess, created for the purchase.
Yep.
I'd be happy to look at that and see if it's feasible, you know, I'll try and do some grades and things like that as well. But that's just to sort of throw it out there. It'd be kind of fun to be green out there, a little bit greener, you know, in terms of our stormwater retention. But that being said, September building permits issued were 7. 1 certificate of occupancy was issued. 6 certificates of compliance were issued. There was 1 order of remedy, and that was resolved. And 1 complaint, a property maintenance complaint on Prince Street, and I don't see that it's been resolved at this point. It may a little bit down the line, but planning board actions, September 8th planning board meeting, a sign approval was granted to 3135 West Market Street, and no zoning board of appeals was conducted, and the money tendered, and the planning, zoning, building department for the month of September was $1,147.45. And are we going to, is the fire company coming to the workshop?
Yeah, we, was talking with them earlier today again, and later you'll see in our agenda, we're thinking of switching our workshop a week from Thursday, and they are able to do that, so.
Beautiful. And I think that's it until we get back to the block grant stuff for me.
Good. Hey, one thing on Jay's concept, he and I were kicking it around, like we know we have $125,000 funded from that DASNY grant, and we've spent roughly $74,000 between surveys, environmental studies, and the purchase. So yes, we do have a survey, and I've been talking with the Chamber of Commerce. Right now, there's no license, no lease agreement with anybody with regard to the kiosk there. So what we can do is maybe put some creative thought. One idea is maybe, can the kiosk, we need to address it, if we're gonna keep it there or not, or should it be moved somewhere else, or different things. What Jay was thinking of, maybe somehow doing something in that front area where the kiosk is, which could theoretically involve moving it somewhere. And we haven't taken any definitive steps, but a couple places come to mind, say in front of the old CVS or in the green Key Bank lot, or keep where it is. I'm starting to broach a concept with the chamber folks that we should just take ownership. Right now, they pay the electrical use fees there, but it's really a structure on our property, and we need to address it somehow. So we've got Rich Olson from McCabe and Mac looking at it, and but if you folks could also put your thinkings, what you would like to see there or see changed. We're not going to decide here tonight, but it's something. But we do need to clean it up with the chamber somehow. Okay, it's our property, their building. What should we do with it? Anyway, on
I
Jay's.
have a question.
Sure.
On the monthly report on September 3rd, Mid-Valley Oil Company for a fire inspection, but was paid out of the village water fund due to an error.
I can explain that. They send $100 in with no explanation, so it just got applied towards their water account.
Oh.
So I had to write a check out of water to the zoning office.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mid-Valley is the mobile station, so people know that, right? Thank you, Jay.
You bet.
Let's see. Jay, excuse me, Jen, rather, looks like you're up.
Sure. All right, we had a very successful hardscrabble day. The weather was perfection, and I think weather is like 80% of the day. So a lot of people were out and about, thanks to our committee and all the sponsors who make the day possible. We got a couple things coming up. Village Halloween, I think you have a little poster. Vanna, please.
I'm going to be her assistant.
We have Red Hook Village Halloween Saturday, October 29th from 11 to 3. New this year, we're going to do a chili cook-off. That will be from 11 to 1 in the village parking lot. Samples will be available with a small donation to the local food bank. And then we're going to do trick-or-treating throughout the merchants and pumpkin decorating from 12:30 to 2:30 with the Halloween parade at 2:30. Thanks to Ulster Savings Bank for helping to sponsor this event. Dog Halloween will be Sunday, October 30th from 11 to 2 with a parade at 12:15. Sorry about that typo there. For more information, go to Paws Dog Boutique. They're in the village, or you can go to pawsdogboutique.com. And then the Chamber of Commerce will have their annual Chocolate Festival Saturday, November 5th throughout the village. And for more information on that, go to redhookchamber.org. I'm also working on Winterfest. It's funny, this is like Hardscrabble, Halloween, Winterfest, boom, 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 boom. And it's like you're constantly planning several moves ahead. So Winterfest will be worked out, but it will be December 4th, and we're going to tie that in with the Elmendorf details to be determined. But that's the next thing. And then I get a little break for a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe. I know you wanted something in
Right,
dead of
cabin-
winter,
cabin
but we'll
fever.
see. We'll see, yeah. Library, I saw pictures on Facebook of our mayor and deputy mayor at the new meeting room on the third floor of the library. So that's just been opened. Oh, the Red Hook Rotary is honoring Lori Husted at the Citizen of the Year dinner, Tuesday, October 25th at 6:15 at the Red Hook Firehouse. Lori's an amazing member of our community, and hopefully you can come to that dinner. And then moving on to materials management for the month of September, we sold $3,135 in garbage tags and paid out $1,254.33. Excuse me, we had 5.89 tons of single-stream recycling and 11.91 tons of garbage. And that's all I have.
Thank you. One thing in our wonderful poster and Jen's introduction to Red Hook Halloween, we use our funny bat motif. It's our branding for that event. And we do have Ulster Savings helping this year. And then they're putting some sponsor money. But a little more exciting too this year is a Food Channel show is going to be here with a pop-up event. It's called Farmhouse Rules, and they're going to be selling, I understand it's like a regionally grown components, cookbook type of a thing. So it's going to be fun and interesting. And then WDST is trying to promote some cooperative advertising, different things in Northern Dutchess and Red Hook in particular. And they're going to be doing some live broadcasts, live remotes from the site. And that's being paid under some Ulster Savings advertising dollars. So we're thinking it'd be fun to be a little more than the average pumpkin decorating and trick or treating. But we'll have our parade. And if anybody on the board, there's a Red Hook Village business over in the chocolate factory. It's Frank Marcotte. He does the live theater stuff, and he apparently has an incredible costume room that, if you so choose, he'll suit us up. And I think I've gone to some of their productions, and they could probably make us look pretty outrageous or whatever
I
we
do
want.
have my Jedi costume that
Yeah,
I
okay.
really enjoy
But,
wearing.
so if anybody wants to partake of his offer, and then and I think
You
she
gonna
is.
do the Carmen Miranda thing?
I don't know. I usually do my.
You're not gonna be a pirate this year?
I think
is
I have
what
to
you're
stay with the
saying?
pirate, but maybe a little more clothing or something. Yeah. But and he offered to lead the parade, the fellow from the theater company. So it could be pretty wild. So we're getting the poster out, and it'll be sent home to Kid Mail and everything. But it'd be a fun day. Let's see. Looks like, Steve, you want to go into water there for us? And,
Sure. The water report for September of 2016. During the month of September, the water treatment plant treated 7,494,000 gallons of water for an average daily rate of 249,000 gallons. The plant used 80 gallons of liquid hydrochloride solution at an average rate of 2.6 gallons per day. In September of 2015, the water treatment plant treated 6,761,000 gallons at an average daily rate of 225,000 gallons per day. 3 samples were sent to Smith Labs in Hyde Park. Results could not be returned at the time of this report, as they are dealing with New York State mandated all public schools lead testing. Now, explanation in relation to the amount of water used. Phase 2 has now reached substantial completion. From the operator's view, the daily flow numbers show significant savings over previous years. Now that the work is finished, the street cleaning is over and the daily flushing of the new pipe work is behind us. Next month's report should reflect this reduction in the daily flow data. Again, the water department would like to thank everyone for their patience over these last few months. Conservation tip: a regular review of automatic lawn sprinkling settings to suit the conditions of the day can save residential or commercial customer a bundle. As we head into the cooler months, consider discontinuing watering altogether except in areas where new seed has been laid in preparation for winter. On the facilities, there was one issue of great importance. The clerk reported that the internet service was down. She called Time Warner after, I imagine, some rigmarole. She finally got Time Warner come out. They put in a new modem, which the original modem was quite old. So that should have corrected the service, should have increased it a little bit. But in doing that, we found out that we're only getting the lowest speed, and we need to increase that speed. So I put numerous calls into our contact at Time Warner and have not received a call back from them. So I will tomorrow be calling and getting a hold of his boss to see what the exact problem is about returning calls.
Are we paying for a tier that we're not getting? Is that
No,
what it
no,
is?
we're paying for the low,
We
we're
just have
paying
a
for a
minimum.
tier that we do get, but we really need to increase, because we've increased our usage over the years. We've never increased the tier.
Ah, okay.
And Steve, going back to your water report for Phase 2, I did have the privilege of looking at almost the last week of results from the pumping. So we're showing pretty consistently pumping at 172,000 gallons per day.
Okay, I don't have that information.
And this is just, he wants to keep it consistent for a month, but it represents about a 35% savings so
Yeah, I don't
far.
have the information.
Yeah, so he'll give you the numbers next month when they're all there. But I just ran into him on the streets today, so.
Yeah, on that point, we do our Friday brainstorming meetings, and the report Steve read is the September data. So really, it's October, so he gave me some numbers from October 1, but they're not formal, but we are seeing interesting stuff. But,
Okay.
I was just looking, he gave me a snapshot, I think it was a text of the log sheet that supports your report, and you can see it. But anyway, another thought while we have Steve up, we're also talking with Central Hudson. If one sits in our conference room and looks out at the main power pole that feeds us, and our cable and everything comes off it for internet, it's doing like a off 90 degree, a little more and a little more, and headed toward the Chinese restaurant more than straight up and down.
What did Central Hudson say?
So I reached out to our contact. They are going to change the pole, and they had an engineer out here 3 or 4 days ago picturing, measuring, and different things. I assume they have the skill set to know everything else that's on it.
What
and
they do?
So when they change a pole, I guess my question is, what happens when they're in here working? Do they keep internet live, the connection live?
Yeah. They shouldn't see anything happen.
And,
Now, did they say, are they gonna replace it with the same size pole? Are they gonna increase the width of the bottom, the height?
I have not heard that. They just said they're gonna replace it, so I could ask them that. Is there a new standard or anything?
No, not that I know of. It's just they could decide to go with a bigger pole. And the other question would be, are they gonna put the pole right beside the other one or not?
Oh, that sister, what's that called in your business? It's is there a word you guys use? You leave one until the other one comes down, because there's multiple companies up there?
Yeah, you're gonna have double wood out there.
Double wood, that's the word, yeah. I don't want double wood, so we have to lean on Frontier. Are they the next one to hit? I know we did that on the corners. We had to push.
Yeah, power company, I'm not sure, since they're gonna take the responsibility, exactly what happened. But it would be the power company, the phone company, and then the cable company.
What I could do is, the fellow our point of contact with Central Hudson is really good, so I'll text him
Yeah.
tomorrow and see.
And they're the ones that get hold of the other companies and tell them.
And we've met fellow, the Frontier Regional Manager. Remember, he's supposed to change that payphone booth over there? I saw him again on something else a month ago. I said, hey, how come there's no payphone there yet? He said, oh, they talk like they'll do it, but it's like, I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, thank you, Steve. We'll let Mr. Deputy Mayor Kowalczyk warm up over there on his new microphone and see how the sound check goes out there. It's Brent, if you can watch that guy, he'll give you a signal if he hears you. And he has so much content, we want to make sure it gets out there. You're all ready to go?
I am. Start with the Village Green Committee monthly report. Current balances of the Village Green Committee's related budget accounts are as follows. Community beautification, we have $4,000. Shade tree contractual, $10,500. And the Village Green Committee checking account, $4,236.88. The Village Green Committee met on September 7th and 21st and 28th, and we reviewed the tree removal lists and sites as prepared by the Village Highway Department. These lists were also looked at by the Village Green Committee and an arborist to verify the health of the tree, and everyone was in agreement this year that the trees selected for removal will be removed. Most of them have already been removed. We also reviewed the list of trees that did not survive from the spring of 2016 planting. We lost about half of them. So we will get a credit from the nursery of those trees to replace them during the spring planting. We considered possible sites. We have actually located the sites for this spring's new tree planting and replacement trees. And we ordered the trees, and actually the trees will be delivered on Tuesday, October 25th. And so we found out last Thursday about that. So our spring tree planting date has been set for Saturday, October 29th. And all volunteers will meet at 9 a.m. at the village parking lot. And we have 13 trees this year. And the volunteers will also prepare a luncheon for the volunteers. And this is usually in conjunction with the Town of Red Hook Tree Commission. So looking forward to that. So I attached also just for your information, a list of trees and locations where we'll be planting. These are the ones that have been ordered. They're all there. We have a bigger selection this year than we did in the fall, or in the spring, I'm sorry. The highway monthly report. The department's still picking up lawn debris and brush every first and third Mondays of the month, and we remind residents to place the lawn debris curbside and separate the brush, lawn debris, and grass clippings in separate piles. And please don't bring them out until close to the date of pickup, just to keep the streets clean and free from windborne debris. And we also ask you to limit the size of the piles to 6 feet, no bigger than 6 feet by 6 feet by 6 feet. And any tree trunks or debris from tree maintenance performed by private contractors should be removed by those contractors and not left for the highway department to pick up. Notice that the leaves are turning and a lot of them are starting to fall, so we'll be announcing soon, I would imagine probably beginning of November, we'll start with the leaf pickup schedule. The catch basin at the southern tip of Memorial Park at the intersection of Old Post Road and North Broadway was repaired during the first week of October. We've had several residents raise a concern about that, so that was repaired. The village received a memo from the New York State DOT regarding the annual update of the local highway inventory. This is mileage reported in the local highway inventory is used to calculate consolidated local street and highway improvement program funding. That's what we refer to as CHIPS. And the completed annual certification of the mileage will be finalized and returned to the DOT no later than December 1st. And Dan usually takes care of that, so. The abandoned driveway apron at 7452 South Broadway, which is across the street at Premier Dental, will be removed and replaced with topsoil and grass. The sidewalk will remain, and this will happen this week, actually. We'll take care of it during the week of the 10th. The highway department's Terex backhoe will be auctioned by Absolute Auctions under the Dutchess County program. Proceeds will be used to purchase a replacement backhoe. Estimates have been received for consideration, and a funding outline has been prepared. I gave it to Cindy today. Couple schemes. We'll be looking at that at the next workshop meeting. The vehicle selected will be a JCB backhoe with a loader, hydraulic coupler, and a 94-inch grapple bucket. The total cost is estimated at $83,732.99. So again, there's several different ways of paying for it. One without bonding at all, another one with bonding. Benner Road between West Market Street and Freely Street, and portions of Thompson Street between Fifth Street and East Market Street will be paved. The estimated total project cost of $34,086 will be deducted from this year's fiscal year CHIPS budget line. So that was part of Cindy's treasurer's report. So $34,000 of that went for CHIPS. And reimbursement for the sale of scrap metal was received on September 7th for the amount of $275.49. So the total revenue generated for this fiscal year is $965.65, sorry. I wish 96.
Getting excited.
Well, we did have a sale of some fire hydrants, and we just got another check today with some of the scrap from phase 2, so we'll be adding to that. So we're about halfway there of what our anticipated revenue would be. So proceeds from this program go toward the purchase of tools and equipment for the village highway, water, and materials management departments, and businesses, residents interested in donating scrap metal can contact the highway department or the village clerk's office, and the highway department personnel will pick up scrap metal upon request. The task force and Red Hook infrastructure projects, the Red Hook sewer project, meetings were held on September 9th, 16th, and 30th at the Red Hook Village Building. We also, at that time, we prepared a tour of the Hillsdale, New York sewer project with Julie Barone from Orenco Systems and Aaron Moore, currently of Tyne Bond, formerly of Clark Engineering, who designed the system. This was a step system, similar to the one we're proposing here in Red Hook. So we did go there, but we prepared for that. We discussed methods to secure easements and ownership of the septic tanks, effluent pumps, laterals of the customers in the proposed service area. We reviewed maps of future additions to the sewer system, including properties in both the village and the town of Red Hook. We discussed main locations and connections on customer properties of the surface area, where they will be when the design portion of this continues and moves forward. We also reviewed the rates considering the loans and grants anticipated to be awarded to the project. We are applying for another grant. It's called the Dutchess County Partnership for Manageable Growth. So that grant application is being prepared as we speak. It's due in December. We reviewed the sewer use laws in the New York State Building Code for mandatory connection regulations, and we discussed resubmitting, amending the preliminary funding estimate application to USDA rural development, and also discussed conducting an income survey to determine more accurate median household income data for the service area with the support of USDA. This is something that we talked about in the public hearing with the Community Development Block Grant. Our median household income is the basis for a lot of the grants and the amounts of grants that we get. And we feel that if we do an income survey of the service area of the business district and Red Hook Commons, we'll try to get a lower median household income, which would qualify us for better funding for both projects, sewer and Community Development Block Grant. We visited Red Hook Commons Sewage Corporation's treatment plant on September 21st. We went with 2 engineers from USDA from the Syracuse office, and our engineer, Robert Flores, and Ed and I both attended. The water project, Phase 2, meetings were held on September 9th, 16th, 21st, and 30th. At the Red Hook Village building, we looked at prices for the remaining portions of Phase 2, which are the stop bars and sharrows on the streets. We looked at the actual versus estimated material quantities for the true and level paving, herbicide, and seeding. Anticipated dates to decommission the existing elevated storage tank, which will probably happen in the spring. Reviewed the punch list items, including concrete curb repair, reseeding, street markings, and adjusting heights of shutoff valves and fire hydrants. And these are all to be completed before the contractual deadline ends in June of 2017. And we also discussed the preparation of the GASB 34 accounting and asset inventory. Phase 2 construction meeting was held on September 21st at the Red Hook Village building. Representatives from USDA, Jerson Construction Company, the village, and our engineers were present. We discussed the status of Phase 2. We signed and reviewed Form E from the Rural Development, the project budget and cost certification. The expenditures to date that we paid, the date was September 21st. The September expenditure for that period was $755,402. We had a remaining balance of $162,097.11. We had a remaining balance total, that's both electrical and prime general, of $266,901.18. And we had a $15,831.06 contingency remaining. And we also signed the engineers joint contract document on September 21st. I won't bore you with the numbers on that. The 2017 Community Development Block Grant, we had the public hearing and will be further deliberating on the project. On the task force side, the task force met on September 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd at the Red Hook Town Hall. We've been busy with a lot of stuff. Formula Business, the task force has prepared a special report on drive-through and formula businesses of August 31st. The report has been circulated by the supervisor's office to various committees and village boards for review and comment. We also looked at the Hamlet Business District. This is to amend the current B1 district in Upper Red Hook to change it to a Hamlet Business District, a little bit more sensitive to the the existing historical context of Upper Red Hook. We looked at the Water Conservation District and the town's Waterfront Conservation District and consistency with the Red Hook Town Comprehensive Plan. And we reviewed proposed solar energy laws that will regulate solar energy projects in the town of Red Hook. The Red Hook Economic Development Committee, both Ed and I are liaisons on that committee. Meetings were held on the 14th and the 28th. We reviewed the formula business special report issued by the task force, discussed the current status of the Red Hook Sewer Project, which included the tour of Hillsdale, New York on October 5th. I'll report that in my next month's meeting, and discussed the proposed anchorages by the U.S. Coast Guard at specific sites on the Hudson River. The Red Hook Zoning Review Committee, I'm a member of that, representing the village. A ZRC meeting was held on September 15th at the Red Hook Town Hall. And right now we're discussing food trucks, definitions, permits, and regulations. Community Preservation Fund Advisory Board, I sit on that representing the village. There were no CPF Advisory Board meetings held during the month of September. The current balance of the Community Preservation Fund as of September 30th is $626,636.42. Town of Red Hook, Villages of Red Hook and Tivoli Shared Services Committee. There were no Shared Highway Service Committee meetings held during the month of September. Northern Dutchess Highway Shared Services, no meetings there, but we were scheduled to have one this week, but that was postponed since we didn't get any of the grants issued by Dutchess County so far. And the Sawkill Watershed Community, Sawkill Watershed Community Meetings was held on September 6th at the Red Hook Town Hall. There was a presentation by Michael Collegio, who's a Bard student, on green infrastructure and low-impact development. We looked at the watershed assessment. The summer monitoring results were presented. And we also looked at ongoing and upcoming initiatives and programs regarding the health, maintenance, and monitoring of the Sawkill and its tributaries. We also have a Bard College student, Kyle Feldman, is helping to continue to monitor the subsurface and surface water in the village of Red Hook with our engineer's assistant, Brett Smith. And this is research that's being conducted to monitor the influence of septic systems on groundwater in Red Hook and the Sawkill. And Red Hook, together, we had two meetings, one on September 1st and one on September 29th, and there were representatives from Bard College, Village of Tivoli and Red Hook Library, Dutchess County Legislature, Northern Dutchess Community Coalition, Historic Red Hook, and various other groups. Red Hook Community Arts Network and the Chocolate Festival is also listed. So every month we try to see what each other's doing and try to share on the work. And that's all I have.
Good, thank you. Just a couple thoughts as Brent was reading through. We did put in our fall newsletter with regard to leaf and yard waste pickup. When Brent, I think we should just clarify, residents are reminded to place lawn debris curbside. What we're asking for this time is curbside, meaning the property owner's side of the curb, not out into the street. So just so it doesn't seem in conflict with what the newsletter said. That way, it's on your property, not out in the street. That'd be one clarification there. And then he mentioned that famous word GASB 34. It's the board knows about it. It's an acronym in the accounting world. With us taking USDA rural development loans and grants and so forth, they are pushing municipalities to upgrade their accounting systems, and it's a good thing to do in general, but it's also something we need to do as we take some of their grant money and loan money. So we have reinstituted that program. We've got great lists together from phase one of the highway study, and I gave them a bunch more data the past few weeks where we're looking for the first audit we really need that by is the end of the fiscal year we're in, so we have some time yet to do that, but we've provided our accountants and we've got them working on that. which is all good. As far as, it looks like we've gone through Zorchuk, Norris, Kowalczyk, Trapp, myself. So we can move to regular business. I had put one thing down as hardscrabble recap. Jen touched on it, and we could just talk a little bit. I think we found that the commercial sponsors really came through again, and the weather held, and the band I thought was really great. The Kids Scrabble thing, we put a lot of effort in and improved that a bit this year, and it's a hard working group, and I wanted to commend and thank. We did it from the stage a few times, but the Hardscrabble committee starts around January, and it happens in September, and then before you know it, it'll be January again, and we'll be starting. So we'll be looking for a new band and the sponsors and so forth, but it was a great day. Jay helped with security. Brent's brings his longshoreman skills there and helps unload trucks. And this year Bard helped us a lot. They sent the Bard men's rugby team bright and early, and then they came back late at night and helped us greatly take the stage and the music apart and put it out of the trucks and back in the trucks. So it was really good.
Don't forget Mr. Miller, he was out there running around.
Oh yeah, we have one of our other. It's a great little mini volunteer project too. Ron Miller, who works with us on water projects, and he works for the Dutchess County Department of Health. He has a side avocation of loving live music and being an engineer on a stage, and he just disappears into the wires, and it all happens, and it's been good. I think we do have to work on it a little bit. We had a power drop that gave us all a little bit of a heart attack. We have to see what that was about, but the particular band this year wanted a spotlight and a little more lighting. I have a feeling just a little bit extra demand from those lights pulled us to a point we haven't been at in other years, but we'll put our crack engineers on that for next year, right, Jay?
You bet.
Okay. Anyway, let's see. A couple kind of mundane things here. In your packets, we have a resolution for water read fee. You might remember, I forget if it was at a workshop or at a regular meeting, Cindy brought up that, pardon me?
I don't have a copy of that
No,
resolution.
okay. Well, we can give you one. Let's see. It's, let me finish my thought and I'll give you this. Cindy had brought up that when people buy or sell a house, there's a final read where we have to send a person out, and then there's a lot of bookkeeping to do to get the mortgage companies and the lawyers and everything, the records they need. We had a $25 fee for that, but it looks like it's costing us more to actually perform the service. So we were looking to make that up. Let me find the proper resolution here from my packet. We'll need her to give us a number, but in essence, I put a few whereases in there. I said the water fee increase rates were introduced by the Board of Trustees in May 15, 2011. You will recall where we specifically and on purpose decided to not incorporate in the local law the fees. We give ourselves the power by resolution to modify the fees as we need to. So that base May 15, 2011 is what we're referring to. And the Board of Trustees can periodically determine that water fees should be and what they should cover as far as expenses. It is necessary from time to time to raise such rates. And then we're talking about raising it to $50. And I thought we can be a little more formal when she gives us a number here for this one. But I think everybody was at the workshops when we talked about this. I'm looking up and down. It seemed like it was consensus to move it up to 50. Mr. Trapp, do you recall?
I thought 50 was the number that we
Yeah.
floated on, yes.
So if Cindy could give us a number for this one, 25. And
This is the block
like I
grant,
said,
this is the credit, this
the
is
whereas part
transportation,
is that we have the authority to raise the rates.
this is the-
It's based on the determinations, and in this case, we're using the treasurer's input from the cost and time she has to deal with to do this. And it doesn't happen that often, but, you know, in other words, it's not a cost that's gonna roll out to every customer in the system. It's if you're selling a house is when you really incur this. Or I suppose, that would be the only real time. I mean, water turnoff, if you're going away for the winter, is a different fee. This is different. So this, what we're trying to do here is, the resolution says, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Red Hook, that the following fee is hereby established, and we label it out as water meter read requested by owner. And we set that at $50. And I would entertain a motion that we adopt this resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on it?
Can we get a copy of that? for the meeting.
Yeah, I didn't,
It's not in your packets?
No,
No.
none of us have it.
Well, let's see.
Yes, you.
I,
Give me
I,
that copy and I'll do it tomorrow.
I will be more, I thought our assistant clerk sent it to everybody and put it in their mailbox.
Yeah.
I apologize for that. But anyway, I am reading it properly. It goes to $50. I moved, and then there was a second. Who was the second?
Brent.
And we were having discussion. We could even give you a copy before you go home tonight if you wanted. We could throw it in. But so we'd like to increase it to 50. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
What was the number, Ed?
25.
Resolution number. Okay. Well, if that's the case, we might, in your packets, I think the same day, I asked that to be distributed. Do you have one Salisbury Bank line of credit? Yep.
I do, yes.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Let's see. This one goes to that theory we utilize with whether it be block grant or fast money or DASNY money, where all those types of grants, as great as they are, they require us to lay out the money and then get reimbursement. Like we know, the DASNY was a great success, but it took, I think, 6 months longer for us to get our money than we expected. There was a lot of paperwork, more than one could possibly imagine. The block grant is generally quicker, but I'm not sure what we can expect with the fast money grant. I have a feeling it's going to be something like the DASNY grant. But that being said, I think it's been a huge tool in our financial toolbox to have this line of credit. Salisbury Bank offers it. And what we do is we don't necessarily have to use it. It's just an asset, a liquid asset if we need to, and then we can move forward on projects. They're offering that same line of credit, $200,000, if you read the resolution, and it's been historically at 1.35%. David Wright, who we work with at the bank, indicated it might go to 1.5%, but I haven't heard that it did. But either way, I think they're very workable interest numbers, and in most cases, we're only on the float for 4, 5, 6 months. You know, these are not long-term financing options. These are short-term bridge loans that we use it for. I do think it's worth keeping, but they wanted from us a resolution so stating that. So I crafted this, and if the last one was 25, this one would be resolution 26. No, Cindy, do you feel like reading it? Sure.
Sure. Resolution 26, 2016, Salisbury Bank Line of Credit Renewal. Resolution dated October 17, 2016, authorizing the continuance of a note in the form of a commercial line of credit in the amount of $200,000 pursuant to local finance law for the purpose of interim funding of public improvements. Whereas the Village of Red Hook periodically receives grants for various infrastructure improvements and vehicle equipment purchases that are reimbursement grants where the village has to spend its resources and process reimbursement requests. Whereas these grants are a significant aspect of the village's ability to perform infrastructure upgrades and make certain purchases. Whereas there are needs to reduce the impact of the village's general fund by exercising a line of credit as a bridge loan for the time gap between payment and by the village and the reimbursement by the grantor. Whereas Salisbury Bank offers a line of credit in an interest rate of 1.35%, therefore be it resolved, the village board authorizes as follows. The continuance of a line of credit from Salisbury Bank for $200,000 at 1.35% interest. The specific purpose of the amount utilized in a bridge loan of the obligation is to be stated in separate specific resolutions when the need arises. The mayor is authorized to sign the continuance note and any ancillary document related to this resolution. The village clerk is directed to attest and affix to such notes the corporate seal of the Village of Red Hook. The faith and the credit of the Village of Red Hook are hereby pledged by the payment of the principal and interest on the note.
Hearing that, just one discussion point I have. I guess I would consider the clerk read it on my motion, so it'd be a motion by me. Is there a second?
Second.
And then for discussion, I had one thought. If we could, board members, when we talk about the 1.35%, I'd like to put a comma or something, or up to 1.5%, if that would work for you guys. Just
A
in case.
max of 1.5?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
1.75, Ed?
1.5.
1.5, okay.
Any other thoughts? Okay, call to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Let's see, item 5, I had put down, folks, normally our workshop is the third Thursday, which would be 2 days, 3 days from today. Once in a while, we have a need to do them back-to-back this week. And this month, I don't think we really have the need. And there's a large panda convocation the 20th, and I want to go to that. And then we have asked the fire company reps to come to us at a workshop level, and they can make the 27th. So I'd like to move ours to the 27th. Does it work for you folks?
Fine.
Fine.
So by motion, we'll move the next workshop to the 27th, and if the clerk can so note the papers or whatever you need to do. I don't think I called for a vote. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And item 4, CDBG.
You want to take care of this other
What do you got there, Mr.?
application from the town for the transportation alternative, CMAQ?
Okay, we can do it now if you like. Let me just find it in my packet. Brent walked us in today. It's something we're talking to the town a bit about. They're looking for a trail concept from the high school area out west toward the Meadow Road, Meadow Lane, whatever the
Middle Drive.
Meadow Drive. They're looking at some state grants and so forth. It's a big project too. I think I just had it in my hand, and let me see. It was it 2.25 million?
2.5.
2.5 million.
2.5 is what they're projecting it costs. So it's no small project, and we're not being asked to help fund or anything. But a piece of it would need a sidewalk connector from west of the high school somewhere out to join up with this project. So the town supervisor talked to me a little bit, and then he forwarded something late this afternoon where they crafted this. I had a chance to read it once. Maybe Brent, you want to fill us in a little more, and we can read it as you're talking?
The town's been working with different trails, and they've been working with the DOT on the specific multi-use pathway connecting the development off of Meadow Drive up to the high school on the north side of Route 199 on the west. So there's a portion, like Ed said, I don't know exactly how many linear feet are in the village. The town would include that as part of their grant, and also the towns will match it with 20% of their funding. So this is something that the Trails Committee's been working on. Brenda Cagle and Sarah and Bowden are kind of taking the lead on this for the town, and working very hard with the DOT. So they're applying for this. We'll see what happens. It's a big project. So this will be just a resolution of support of the application for the
Yeah,
town.
when
of
I
Redwood.
when I read about 3:30, what Brent says is correct. We called the supervisor and said, "What? There's a blank you'll see there." I think we hand wrote it in. That's our handwriting, 2.5 million. But the key words are, it talks about approximately 400 linear feet that would be in the village. But the more key to us from a budget standpoint is, although there's a local match requirement of 20%, such match to be provided by the town. They're saying that they're just looking for us to support it. When you go toward the bottom of the page, under the resolution section, the Village Board of Trustees hereby supports and endorses the submission by the town for the grant application for pedestrian pathway along 199 with a 20% match to be funded by the town. So it seems pretty clear. We're not committing any of our budget here. And again, like all grants, we're not sure what success rate will be for them, but I think it'd be worth supporting them. We've done this on some other project with them, and
Whose responsibility is it to maintain the path?
well, when it's done, our code generally goes that the abutting property owner is responsible. So if one thing's 400 feet, it seems like a big bulk of that must be right in front of the girls' field hockey field there. So that would be the school.
Did they have that in any of the discussions?
What's that, as far as shoveling goes?
As far as maintenance, ongoing maintenance of the property?
And I could jump in, Brent, but I know the town currently, for their South Broadway Route 9 projects, they do in their budget clear those sidewalks. And I believe for their Eastern Shore sidewalk, they're gonna keep that same motif, so.
But also, on the same token, the Linden Avenue sidewalk, which is a joint town-village project as well, that was a community development block grant from basically Park Avenue toward the rec park. And that's a seasonal, because we ran into the same issues where adjacent property owner in the village would have to shovel, and the town would have to maintain, so they just kind of made it seasonal. But I think someone does come and run a plow around that sidewalk.
So is this gonna be seasonal out there?
I'm not sure
Yeah,
how
no.
it's gonna operate, but again, from village law, it's the adjoining property owner's responsibility to maintain that sidewalk, at least in part of the village.
In the village, yeah. I think though, Steve, that's a very good question, but I would think, knowing what we know, they do seem, the town does plow plow might be the wrong, they do clear the sidewalks down below on the south side. They have a different sidewalk law, their municipal law is different. I think, overall, I think it could be a good thing if it's connecting that neighborhood to the school and then to the village center. It works with, I think, somewhere up, support connectivity between the village of Red Hook School, Linden Avenue Middle School, and 3 residential subdivisions of the town. And theoretically, it does open a gateway. It's a long haul, but you can get from Bard across, Kelly Road there into those developments, and then
And that's another grant that we're incorporating our Phase 2 water project in, the village-to-village trail, and that's through another grant application, but we have, proposal is from Tivoli to Bard up to Kelly Road, down Linden Avenue to West Market, the church up to the parking lot as the destination. So that's part of another project though, so this particular trail may tie into that one at the end point being the village parking lot, where we have the bike racks and stuff.
that being said, I was highlighting the various paragraphs. If somebody would like to, Jay Trapp, feel like putting his vocal cords to work down there?
Sure.
So it'd be 20
Whereas the town of Red Hook, as project sponsor, has caused to be prepared an application for assistance under the Transportation Alternatives CMAQ program for pedestrian pathway together with shoulder improvements to safely accommodate biking located along Route 199 from Red Hook High School to Meadow Drive with an estimated project cost of $2.5 million, and whereas a small portion of approximately 400 linear feet of such proposed project lies within the village of Red Hook, and whereas the program includes a local match requirement of 20% of the total project cost, with such match to be provided by the town, and whereas the development of pedestrian and bicycle connections is consistent with the town of Red Hook's comprehensive plan and the Poughkeepsie Dutchess County Transportation Council's Walk Bike Dutchess program, the Greenway Compact program, and the Red Hook Trails Committee's recommendations for the Village to Village Trail presented in their February 2016 Red Hook Trail Plan. And whereas the proposed project will support connectivity between the village of Red Hook High School and Linden Avenue Middle School, and 3 residential subdivisions in the town, as well as Bard College and the village of Tivoli. And whereas it is in the best interest of the village of Red Hook to support the town's application for fiscal year 2017 Transportation Alternatives CMAQ program funded for the town, the grant application, to fund the proposed project. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Red Hook as follows. The Village Board of Trustees hereby supports and endorses the submission by the Town of Red Hook of the grant application for the construction of a pedestrian pathway together with shoulder improvements to safely accommodate biking located along Route 199 from Red Hook High School to Meadow Drive, with a 20% match to be funded by the town as described herein. Number 2, the officers, employees, and agents of the village are hereby authorized and directed for and in the name and on behalf of the village to do all acts and things as may be necessary for, in the opinion of the officer, employee, or agent acting, desirable and proper to effect the purposes of the foregoing resolution. Number 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Brent, did you want to offer that as a motion?
Yes, I'll offer that as a motion.
I'll second it. And discussion, I think we, as always, we tend to pre-discuss, but now that we've read it and had a chance to look at all the words, I see it as overall a good thing. We're not committing anything dollar-wise, and looks like if we have to generate a letter separately, that last paragraph, some lawyer really crafted that last number 2 sentence there.
Yeah, what does that
Mean?
what does that really mean?
I think it means I can sign a letter or sign whatever,
Well, it's not you, it's all the officers, employees, and agents.
let's see, in the opinion of the officer or employee or acting, I think it's just saying that whatever we have to do to affect the purposes of the resolution, whether that's a letter or something, I could sign something.
Well, it's not just you, Ed, it's all officers. Officers, employees, and agents. It's not just the mayor.
I think it means if Cindy has to send something to the town or.
It doesn't say that.
No,
It
it's
says
very-
all officers, employees, and agents.
It's very
of the village.
general.
Let's take some editing creativity here.
Take "and" out and put "or" in, and it should be okay. The officers, employees, or agents of the village are hereby authorized.
I
Which
would
means
take out
then
employees.
one of the-
I mean,
one
of
we're
them-
not
Take out-
officers, and we're the only ones that can sign anything.
I would take, yeah,
Let's take out, let's insert the mayor and, or clerk. or
Clerk,
something
treasurer, or something,
like
okay.
that. Would that-
well, let's go mayor or deputy mayor or clerk.
Okay, mayor,
But officers, all employees, and all
yeah,
agents.
it seems like a boilerplate there. Mayor,
Bring Dan in, let's get him to sign some things,
Well,
you
that's
know?
the thing. Let's get the part-time employee to come in and say, okay, got it,
okay.
and there it is.
Are you an editor in one of your lives? Let's see. So if we say that number 2, the mayor, comma, deputy mayor, or clerk, and we'll strike officers, employees,
Village of Dearborn.
agents of the village are hereby authorized. Does that work for everybody?
Well, you would have to go down to the
To
third
the-
line, officer, employee, or agent acting, and do the same thing.
So we said in the opinion of said parties, said opinion of, or we just put same wording, mayor, deputy mayor, clerk, it'll be easier.
Seems a little confusing as written.
Yeah, it's kind of broad.
Definitely legal speak.
I see Chris Shaw here somehow.
So would
Well,
this,
anybody that has any association with the village could
so would this,
sign off on it.
would this be resolution 27 then?
Yes, it would.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've had some good discussion. We could call to a vote. I will ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Before you move on to the block grant, are you gonna do anything on this one? Block grant, the joint one with the town, or you wanna?
Well, no, we'll talk about that in a minute. Thank you, though, man. Yeah. Okay, so number 4 on our list, we had the public hearing before, and then, as we were bantering a little bit about what our thoughts were, where we wanted to go. I don't know that we came to a real conclusion as a group yet. It seemed like we had a couple ideas, couple options out there. Yes, we do have a short timeline. The town did ask, as one of the, what Cindy was showing me, they also sent a resolution for, if we're doing nothing, throwing our 100 grand into their project. That was one of the ones we brought up at the public hearing just earlier. We seem to be leaning toward finding our own sidewalk pieces that need some ADA compliance, and that was in to the tune of $30,000-ish, as I recall. That's a projection. It would require a lot of hard, fast work. I guess Jay would take his stuff, Brent would pick it up and go with that. And one question Donnie had from the audience before was, see, we had pre-screened the old pedestrian flash signals and the ADA component to Audra Murray at Black Ramp before. I do feel that this new one is so close to the old one, I don't think they would reject it outright for any reason. Do you concur? In other words, I think you had run it by Audra a month ago when we were originally going to refile the other one, and
I ran it by Ann Saylor, actually.
okay, now I get and Audra mixed.
Yeah.
But I think that was like an October 7th date. We'd cleared that. Then we heard the news that different things came in differently. If I remember the date right. So is that any impediment to any of our decision, I guess is the question. I don't think it would be. I don't think the planning
Well, I mean,
department-
technically, you were supposed to get a clearance from them prior to proposing a project, and this isn't, I mean, it's all ADA. Anything that we do these days has to be ADA under that umbrella. And this may or may not raise the ire of these guys if we send it in, without doing the pre-screening that they like to do.
In the walkthrough that
So
usually
we
come
could-
down.
That they tend to do a walkthrough as well.
Yeah, so we theoretically could call them, I guess, I just want to move us in the wrong direction, but my sentiment is if we talk to them and say, look, we got the other grant funded us, unknown to us, not our fault, it's so close. I think, to me, the pre-screening is they don't want you coming in with a wacky thing, being upset that you got to know, because it was nowhere near to ever being something that could be approved,
True.
Well, I know I've been on these walkthroughs before, and some of the projects that we've proposed that we thought were under the auspices of the requirements ended up not being. Take, for instance, Firehouse Lane. So we were originally going to connect where we stopped the original sidewalk, take it down to Agway, because that would have been a reconstruction in our mind, ADA compliant. They said, no, you couldn't do it. So that's, I think, the purpose of the walkthrough and the clearance, to make sure that it does fit the parameters and the guidelines as specified by the block grant.
So do we have to put on our best diplomatic talk, and, because we don't want to give them our headache, in other words,
Sure. We have to strike a balance between approaching them in sort of hat in hand, if you will. I know we're late. We didn't expect to get the fast money. So we're scuffling here to try and get this done. And then on the other hand, I would not like to all of a sudden find out that it doesn't qualify and not be able to get any of the money from
Right.
anywhere,
And just to take up on Jay's subject, I think the town's gone through this, but we're also planning to do an income survey. And
We are.
yeah, and what we're talking about as far as these crosswalks go would be primarily within the service area of where the income survey would be conducted. So that may actually help
It's
us
just right up and down here where
for
we
a
were talking.
future, to strengthen the future application for this.
what if we go with that approach, we'd like to do our own, and then if they say yes, he triggers something quickly.
Well, we have two resolutions in front of us.
Yeah, no, let me just finish my thought. Or if we put a backup, we could, let's say for some reason they said, no, it doesn't fly, would we then use the town, like, would the group say,
When would we have another meeting to pass the resolution for the town?
Well,
We
can you
could
do it
put-
both tonight?
we could do a hybrid.
Contingent?
Can you do that? Can you endorse two projects at the same time, so to
Contingent.
speak? Yeah, just procedural questions.
that's a good question, yeah,
I'm not sure. Because, you know, free money, you, somehow or other, you don't want to miss out.
I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I mean, my inclination is kind of to go with the rec park
Really?
and hold out on this one for next year.
I would agree with Brent, go with the rec park since they put more time and effort and thought into it, and it would give us the opportunity to complete our income study and maybe expand the scope of some of our work that we would like to maybe embrace for next year.
Makes sense. I just don't know, how long does a block grant get held for with regard to the town's project? In other words, let's say they can't build it for 3 years or whatever.
Well, you know the deal, if you don't get it, start getting it in the ground, then
They have a year, basically, right?
they start to get upset with you.
You can get continuances and extensions on the final, but you have to show progress.
Do they have to complete, I mean, all right, then my question would be, since the block grant is for $200,000 potentially, do they have to complete $200,000 worth of the project to then satisfy the intent of the award of the block grant?
My understanding from the town is that if and when the village goes on board with the co-application, the town would bond for the remainder of the project.
And the whole project would
Would be-
then begin, so to
Right.
speak.
Right. So bonding can take, that resolution can pass probably next month. I don't know what I can't speak for the town. I don't know what's going on there, but that's what I've heard the game plan is from the town.
See, my thing is, I spent a major portion of Sunday afternoon pulling all this stuff together, the graphics and everything. It's not really something that you put together in, you know, half an hour or 45 minutes to do it correctly, because you know every word means so much, and everything you do has to be coordinated together. There's a certain discomfort level I have with sort of slapping it together so quickly, you know, because I'll have like an hour or so on Thursday evening to get back to this, and I'd hate to do it
All right, well,
in a
that's good.
haphazard fashion.
I think we're moving toward consensus, and that's how we tend to like to work. I think, like we said, the big project we wanted is being funded. We were kind of grasping, we tasked ourselves, put your creative thoughts together, what else can we do? And we're not coming up with an ADA-based thing that's given us a big enough project to jump at.
This is really the exciting one for me right
Yeah,
here. I've
to
wanted
find
those
something
things
that-
for a
yeah.
long time.
But,
I mean, I think there's a need that's demonstrated by, concerns of the people who walk those crosswalks, the seniors, and people going to the library, so that money really,
and there is a certain connectivity over there too. We've got the sidewalk to the current rec park. If they upgrade, their project will be across the street from the current rec park, but it's all reachable by the village. Village folks can get there.
It's only reachable during the,
But it,
during the summer months.
well,
Summer, spring, fall months.
there's a
During
trail,
the winter, it's not reachable.
there's a
it's-
trail that goes through there too right now.
well, but it's baseball, soccer, yeah, it's.
Yeah, but you can't walk down that one because it's not cleared.
No,
You
but
could, cross-country ski through there in the snow.
Well, this field though is more for, it's athletic fields for
I know.
other abled. But, I think we're moving toward, so who's got the actual resolution? You got a black and
Well-
white one in front of you?
I have-
Yeah,
Well,
Jay, you want to read again? We'll do discussion after we read it, okay?
I'll be happy to
Thanks.
read it. And this is 28? I mean, should it go? This is 20, this is the supporting an application by the town?
Yes.
That's the one, okay. Whereas the Village of Red Hook is participating in the Dutchess County Community Development Block Grant Consortium for fiscal year 2017, and whereas input from citizens and groups has been received and considered, and whereas an application has been prepared for the Challenger Field project at the Red Hook Recreation Park expansion in the amount of up to $200,000, which addresses our community concerns. And whereas the proposed project is a regional recreational facility which will benefit physically and mentally challenged individuals throughout the Mid and Northern Dutchess region, and whereas the Village of Red Hook has proposed to join in the application with the Town of Red Hook, whereby the Town of Red Hook will be the lead applicant responsible for all project obligations. Whereas the proposed project will benefit the citizens of the Village of Red Hook, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Red Hook as follows. Number one, the Dutchess County Community Development Block Grant Consortium Fiscal Year 2017 application for the Challenger Field project in the amount of up to $200,000, together with the certification included therein, is hereby approved with the Town of Red Hook as lead applicant. Number two, the officers of the Town of Red Hook are hereby authorized and directed to submit the said applications with the Village of Red Hook as joint applicant to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, and the officers of the Village of Red Hook are authorized and directed to do all things necessary or convenient in connection therewith. Number three, this resolution shall take effect immediately.
So Jay read it, like the other one. Brent, do you want to move it into the record for discussion in a second?
Yes, I'd offer this Resolution 28, 2016.
I'll second it and we'll open discussion. Two thoughts. I mean, it's a minor piece, but that paragraph 2 needs the working. Steve, it's not quite as obtuse as the other one, but it's some of the wording is not too good there. Then within the body, it talks about up to $200,000, which that would be, we each have a maximum of allowability, if that's a word, of 100,000. So that's where the 200 comes from.
So should you put me, like parentheses behind it, say $100,000 per municipality or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. And then,
I'm just worried about, too, the title, resolution supporting an application by the town. It's almost a joint application.
I would say joint application, yes.
Joint application by the town and Village of Red Hook.
so we'll change the title, resolution of a joint application. Resolution.
Supporting
Supporting.
a joint application
A
by the
joint-
town of Red Hook. Should you say town and village?
And
And
village.
village,
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it addresses, let's see, so 200,000. I'm just thinking of the obligations we know within it, like there's then an engineering maximum, things like that, that I guess would be, if we have the $100,000 per, I'm just trying to think, is there any complication we're not thinking of with the components that would be within the grant? We know it's not buying the whole field. We know it's just supplementing some bigger project. Do we want to make it limited, like buying certain things, or is that too much of a control? Because what will it be? Engineering, site preparation, design, construction. That might be too much to get in there, though, right?
It probably would be.
Hmm.
The last referent, or resolution that was there, in the body, it noted that the village was not responsible for any monies,
Right. Yeah.
where this leaves it wide open. There's nothing in there that states that they couldn't come back to the village next year and send a bill, because we're a joint applicant.
So this would be a grant
Under block grant rules.
under block grant, which is reimbursable. So if
Yeah.
it exceeds the scope of the project, then they don't pay the money.
So any money paid out by them, even though it's awarded to the village, we wouldn't be responsible for floating any of the Salisbury-type loans at that point, would we?
I would say not. What Brent is saying is correct. Block grants are essentially 100% reimbursement. It's just, at some point, we have to lay the money out. That's hence our bridge loan,
Right.
but you get a little back. So there's no 20% share or anything like that.
Right.
But I think it's a good point. I think I don't wanna exercise or reduce our financial world for it. We're just lending. So we have to pick some wording. I think something should be inserted, like, we're not gonna, lay out any money on this, or.
We can,
Do you
we could
concur?
put it something that, our exposures not to exceed $100,000 from the award from the block grant.
And you're saying, so if the town spends the money, part of it's awarded to the village, will the village have to, between the
paperwork.
time that the contractor's paid and the time that we get reimbursed, so will the money come to us, then we have to sign it to the town?
No, I just wanted to speak up. I think what
Good.
this also means is because we've done this before, we don't both submit payment requests.
Usually a
It's
lead.
like the town takes lead agency.
So it will all come to
All
the
goes through
town?
the town.
Okay.
This is their application. We're just,
Want to throw in another whereas all financial exposure and clerical processing,
Will
administrative
be
processing.
borne
will-
by the town, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm sure there'll be more coming after this.
Yeah.
But I also want to say in there that the village doesn't bear any responsibility for maintenance.
Okay. All financial, administrative.
They leave that wide open. Just as they did in the preceding resolution.
So you can put this as a whereas or a therefore?
I'm putting a whereas. I'm putting it after the $200,000 whereas. Like we were talking about money there. Saying all the financial, administrative, and other tasks are to be borne by town. No, what was yours, Steve? Maintenance.
Maintenance. Maybe that doesn't belong in here, but we got to keep that in.
Yeah.
If they come back and, we don't want them coming back and saying, okay, now we have maintenance of it. Since you were a joint applicant, we want you to bear a cost.
What if I put all design, construction and maintenance costs?
Yeah, we don't want to have to go out and start cleaning the restrooms
Yeah.
and things like that out there.
That comes from, the rec fees and their budget for the rec park, which we pay, I think. I don't know if that comes out of a fund, but probably not.
Well, I added one, Brent, whereas all design, construction, maintenance costs are to be borne by town.
Okay, and then one question. Did they go to the village of Tivoli too?
I think Tivoli already passed for another application, another
Tivoli,
project.
yes, Tivoli, I was peripherally involved through my job that Tivoli was submitting for something else, so
Okay.
they're in a
And,
different direction.
and then my other question that I just remembered was, since we haven't read anything and we aren't going for anything for the village of Tivoli this year, does that put us in jeopardy in any of those locations?
I'm not sure I follow your question.
Yeah,
Could
what do
you
you mean?
rephrase it? So-
You said you were going to do ADA compliancy at some of the crosswalks or some of the, does that, not getting them done, does that put us in jeopardy? Somebody goes in, there's no warning, they go out into the road and get hit.
This has been like this, the warning strips are contrasting colored tactile devices that tell people with diminished vision levels and things that there's a change in intensity or a change in elevation. These curb cuts that were here have been here for a very long time, so they're kind of like pre-existing, and we're trying to bring them up to current code is our intent. When we can get the money to do it and not charge the taxpayers, we're trying to bring it up through the grant money. That's how we're getting there. So-
Right, okay. And then, probably the last point would be, I hope the town doesn't consider this, ongoing thing, that they can come every year and come after these funds. Because we are, by your statement, Brent, by everybody's statement, we want to be a walkable village. To be a walkable village, we have to be compliant with all the ADA specifications, and we have to keep up on everything.
I agree with you, Steve. It's just unique this year that because we were moving to reapply that one grant and got the money somewhere else, we got caught in this. And the town knows, hey, we don't have a great big project to grab this year, so it's, so it wouldn't be a pattern. And I think we can use it as a bargaining chip and different things that are, certain things that have been read in the record tonight. There's other things the town's up to, that we can say, hey, we worked with you on this, and, we can look for.
Let's also remember that if the other grant comes through, we'll get 400 linear feet of sidewalk at no cost to us, too. So,
400 linear feet of sidewalk.
yeah, if the
Where?
other grant, this
The,
is on
tr-
199
the
from
trail.
Is that sidewalk or is that a trail?
that sidewalk.
I didn't read it. Any place in there that's sidewalk.
And while you're looking for that, the other upside of this is that in the interim, if we do our income study and we find out that we do have pockets of low mod that we are able to use to leverage and get the village $150,000 of sidewalks, not just ADA upgrades, then we'll be to the benefit on that. If not, and we find out we're still in above the low mod in all areas, we will then have the time to fully investigate and hopefully spend $100,000 on every intersection that we can pull through here and try and get them all instead of hitting a few piecemeal, like Ed was saying, $25,000, $30,000 worth. We might be able to attack all of them at that point.
Get closer to 100 or even $150,000 project.
Thank you. Yep.
And plus, one thing in the back of my head, as we move toward the sewer, there's gonna be a lot of work out on the Route 9 and different areas where someone have to fold that into what we're gonna change or not change, where we're going with directional drilling, and, we might be able to do certain things in conjunction with that.
And possibly, phase 3,
Yeah, yeah.
depending on if we get those grants that we've applied for.
And just so everybody knows, because of this income thing, we can only do handicap-related projects. There's a lot of things we'd love to do, but we're not eligible. But anyway, it seems like we've moved, we've got a motion and discussion on that, we've made some edits. What I can do is tomorrow morning, get to the town, whoever put this into a Word program, and they can make a formal, get those in there.
That'd be
Because I
good.
got it in an email.
Yeah, and then, and again, we just got this 3:30-ish this afternoon, so, we've had discussion, we have a second, I would say it's time to bring it to a vote. I would vote in favor of it, and what's the vote, up and down, Mr. Zarchuk,
Yes.
and Jay,
Yes.
and Mr. Gwalchek?
Yes.
I think we're good there. We've hit the regular business, the committee reports. And then, general business, time for board to bring up things that you talked about before, just, we could, I can't think of anything, but, let me get my screen back up so we don't have a purple wall. We were wondering where Mr. Beekman was. We have new rules in the building, sir. Your counterpart, Donnie, probably has a microphone there. We're wired directly now from our mics to the PA to the camera. So if you speak, nobody will hear you, and it's not intentional. But, so you do need to, if you have a comment, Don, I think, still has it back there. You just, it should be on, and we're not trying to put you on a spot, but it's just
I'll hold
more,
on to next year.
we're hoping the audio comes through a little better. It's an experiment, and we'll see how it works. But you came in late. It's good to see you. Pardon me? Oh, were you at the one, the Millbrook one? Yeah. There. Oh, was it? But it was an ICOM one. the Nikon, the Seeker? That's
Everything was done, planning.
a little closer, yeah. Yeah, flick that little button up. Put it right by your mouth again, let's see. Whoa,
Is the battery expired?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
I'm up and use my mic.
Come up. You want?
Project up there, what kind of a field they putting in?
This is from what I understand, isn't it?
Hey, maybe could I do this? Could I repeat the question? Because I don't know if it would have come through. Don Finn asked the project up there, which means I guess at the town proposed rec park expansion, what kind of field is it? It's called a Challenger Field. And Brent was going to answer.
It's set up for people with disabilities to be able to play field games, baseball basically, and what they can do. So it's an accessible field. And we'll also have, from what I understand, amenities such as restrooms, ADA compliant restrooms associated with that field.
I, just to amplify, when Sue Crane was supervisor, I think it may be the same bathroom, but they requested that Crawford and Associates design I forget, 5, 6, 7 unit bathroom, male, female, several handicap stalls and faucets and lavatories, water fountains, seating bench areas and things like that. And I think it's probably the same one, so it would be a good facility. And at that point, not too far after that, Doug Stroinski and I went out and we did deeps and perks at the place to, sort of prepare. I think Mark Graminsky was going to do a gratis septic design for the facility. So it's kind of all in place right now and just kind of waiting for the money to get it out there. So it's a nice bathroom. There's a piece of it I don't think they'll do right now, but we designed like a snack bar into one end of it. So I don't know that they'll actually do that. It's probably just the bathroom they're gonna move on.
But the field itself is for, people with disabilities to be able to play on that field.
Where is this, over by the chicken farm?
It's across the street from the current rec park. It's the new annex that they bought. So right now, there's a trail, I think, that runs through there. Parking, I know they just acquired through CPF a portion of property, about 1.9 acres. That will be incorporated within the parking. They have a master plan of the whole area on that side.
Yes, there was a design for parking, laid out the whole thing, buses and all.
Because originally the town didn't put the original rec park in. That was done by the Army Reserve.
So this is a different project.
Too.
Yeah.
Bowman didn't have the money, we had the property there, so we gave it to the Little League.
Mm-hmm.
Is any of his comment coming through there, cameraman? Quietly. What Don just said, that the original rec park was built with help from, he says, the Army Reserve, and I think local contractors too, I think.
Cookingham, B. Cookingham, and S.J. Ward.
Yeah, I remember local Laura telling me he helped. But, and then it's also consistent, remember last month we passed that Think Differently concept, and it's consistent with that. But George moved forward like he might have a question. And, we'll repeat it. You could say it.
I don't like the village getting tied in with the town on anything, specifically more parkland. It's a nightmare to maintain it. I don't think it's gonna get any use out of it. I think it's another mistake.
Well, I'll have to be clear. I'm repeating his statement. I don't know if it was it wasn't a question, it was a statement. This is not the mayor speaking, it was a resident. It'll get excerpted and come back. But George indicated he didn't feel it was a good idea to be sharing a park concept with the town. But I don't think we're sharing the park, George. We're just allocating some block grant money this year that they can put toward their plan.
Right, but that's money the town, the village could have said next year we didn't get. Maybe we get it next year for something else that we actually.
It'd be good if that was true, we would think of that, but it's not. It's the parcel, the amount gets let out each year is not really based on what you got last year. It's on your project, so. But anyway. Anything else from anybody?
I'm done.
I think we had 9:00. So the big thing in your notes, we're gonna move that workshop till a week from Thursday. So.
We'll be discussing the purchase of the backhoe.
Yeah, Brent, I don't know if he circulated, he brought his recap, and we have some thoughts. It's overall, there's some various ways to look at it, and we have to decide just which way to.
I gave Cindy, she could circulate what I drafted up to the board.
Okay,
Really?
Yeah.
well, all right. So we have the routine motion. I saw the vouchers getting passed around,
Yeah, where
and
are they?
I think I
I was-
hid them in the back, or put them back in your office,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
So we need a motion to pay bills after audit.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then Mr. BK, RA, would you like to?
Certainly. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's October 17th, 2016 meeting.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
That was slow.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.